FOMO, no fear, subscribe, stay sharp, and don't smoke the stinky socks. Don't smoke the stinky socks.
Heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks. Bought some Bitcoin late at night. Woke up rich, that ain't right. Checked again, never mind. Broke as hell, see that line? Maybe risky, maybe wild, but so is betting on Uncle Clyde. Do your research, read your blogs. For heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks.
Don't smoke your socks.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Everybody hit that line.
No FOMO, no fear. Subscribe, stay sharp. Don't smoke those stinky socks.
All right, legends. There we go. Welcome to another live stream. As per the thumbnail, the most hated altcoin, right? The altcoin that everyone lost faith in. The altcoin that was supposed to give us altcoin season has failed us so far. The altcoin no one wants to talk about. When you bring up the chart, no one is interested. Well, no one used to be interested. And now it finally, it's showing some signs of life. And it could potentially be the most hated altcoin rally that we could see in the coming months. So today I want to take a little bit of time and go through Ethereum. We can look at the Ethereum BTC chart, analyze that. We can look at where Ethereum is from a structural perspective, the macro corrective structures, where potentially the top could be for Ethereum if it keeps on gaining momentum here to the upside. Everyone that sold Ethereum because it's not performing, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? Those are the people that is most probably going to hate themselves for selling the ETH bags. But anyways, legends, we're going to start off the stream with a little bit of Bitcoin analysis, just see if there's some trading probabilities and possibilities that we could get into here, right? Because, you know, this is a Bitcoin channel at the end of the day. I do 99% of my trading on Bitcoin. And when we do go into a little bit of an alt season, okay, I do focus a lot more on altcoins. But when Bitcoin makes a little bit of a correction here to the downside, okay, you know, when Bitcoin falls here to the downside, I mainly focus on Bitcoin because no one wants to trade a damn altcoin when it's just falling, and many of them even making new bear market lows. But when you get some momentum here to the upside, okay, and they're starting to break like major trends and they're starting to change market structure with slight higher highs and higher lows, that's when people start getting interested in altcoins again. And this is why we've been talking about a lot of altcoins in this consolidation area that we find ourselves in on the price of Bitcoin. Okay, right. Now the question is, are we going to see a little bit of a cool off in Bitcoin? Remember, guys, to smash up that like button. Let's start with the technical analysis. I think I will do another live stream later. So this live stream will be brief, it will be bright, and it will be and I'll be gone. It will be brief, be bright, and I'll be gone. Right, legends. So let's get into the technical analysis. Let me quickly say hi to the community over here. Ooh, let's go, Mr. Pac-Man Mod. Always appreciate the mods here in the house. Welcome. Let's go, Mr. Jack. Welcome. I saw your comment today. I'm not skipping you by purpose, right? Timbo, hello. Shill, morning peeps. Finally, I have time to attend a live. Love the intro. Thank you so much. Nice intro, 5 stars. Thanks, man. Thanks. Good morning, all, and all. Welcome to the live stream. Rudy, hi, you, Dewald. Elizabeth, always great to see you here on the live stream. Hi, folks. Just joined Legends Pro yesterday. The onboarding is amazingly smooth and winning already. Wow, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Remember, if you are a pro member inside of the pro community, you can always tag me in the chat section and ask me questions. I'm always there to help a fellow person out. Okay, I do also spend from time to time during the week. I also like to spend some time in the chat and just, you know, talk about this and that, games that we like to play, movies we like to watch, right? Because trading is very serious and sometimes just nice to have normal human conversations, okay, outside of the trading game as well. Sokman, welcome, welcome. I think another pro member, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Crypto Big Brains, let's go, Legends. BTC is confusing everyone at the moment. Yes, but we will keep it simple here in this update, right? Dewald, can you brief me about how to spot Bullish and Bearish CVD? I have no idea. Right, we can go through CVD as well. Let me see if I do have my CVD open. Yes, we do have CVD open. Currently getting a little bit of a dump here to the downside, okay, on the smaller time frames. And I was considering opening up a swing trade over here. I got busy with other things. I wanted to open up a swing trade here on BTCC. I wanted to open up a little bit of a swing trade. Okay, this was the idea that I had, right? And this was the idea that I had, basically opening. I want to open up a little bit of a swing trade. Stop goes behind the above the highs, and then I'm targeting this little consolidation area. 3.25 risk to reward. It makes sense. Okay, you DCA in this zone. Make sure that you don't overtrade and put too much money in the portfolio. But now that we're dumping it to the downside, not a good idea for me at the moment. If we do get a little bit of retracement, but I will analyze that. In a moment, okay, if I will still consider opening up a swing trade over here. Right, cool, Legends. And what else? Let's do a little bit of technical analysis. And we can go through CVD, Mr. Jack, in a moment. Hi, Dewald, Ram, welcome to the live stream. And let's get the party on the road. Okay, cool, Legends. So let's just do a little bit of higher time frame analysis. Very quick, very brief, very bright. Okay, here on Bitcoin, it's always good as a morning routine, especially a Monday routine, okay, to zoom out onto the daily, the weekly, the 8-hour, 12-hour time frames and see where, you know, look at the oil painting from a little bit further away so that you can see the whole picture. Are we still trending up? Are we trending down? Have we formed 5 waves? Is it a 3-wave structure? Is it in your best interest to look for shorts? Is it in your best interest to look for longs? Where are we in the structure? Okay, so, you know, I've gone through this a million times, but, you know, let's just do a quick little recap over here. So we are currently rejecting here by, well, we got a rejection at the 0.88. Okay. And that is now currently offering resistance. Also, when I do a fixed range volume profile from the start of this consolidation area to where price is at the moment, we also reject it at the value area high of the range, failing to get above and hold it. So this is definitely, I think we need to stay realistic and we need to stay level-headed. We have discussed during the week possibilities. Well, what if it forms a higher low over here and it's a 1-1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and it just leaves everyone behind and we go for higher prices. We have the full moon in the sky, which is giving us a little bit of buying pressure. And, you know, are we just going to continue upwards from here without even claiming these lows? Okay, so there is an extreme bullish case scenario. But from a practical perspective, staying level-headed, okay, the scenario that unfortunately still carries the highest probability, okay, looking at this structure from an Elliott wave perspective, I have a little bit of a concern for price just to continue to the upside. There's something that's concerning me. My biggest concern, let me just cut to the chase, is this. This is my biggest concern. Okay? When price moves up parabolically like it's done with all these short little retracements, it is very concerning to see a strong momentum to the upside from a price action perspective with decreasing volume. This is a bit concerning. Okay? And this is potentially the clue, right, that your structure is starting to correct itself because it's pushing higher and it's pushing higher with no volume supporting the momentum to the upside. Ideally, what you would have liked to see is the opposite. You wanted to see volume increase. That then opens up the door for a higher probability that you could form a higher low over here without claiming this low and just go parabolically to the upside. So things, you need to start putting the puzzle pieces together. Another thing is we have to acknowledge it's not something that concerns me, it's the volume that concerns me. Another thing that is obvious is that we have formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure. It is a 5-wave structure. There's no other way to count it. And usually when you get a 5-wave structure to the upside with decreasing volume, there's a big chance that this structure could start correcting itself and it could go as deep as this consolidation area over here. Okay, the deepest level we all know. Okay, now I'm just painting out worst case scenario. Over here is to say you take a fib from the high, from the low to the high. The level that should not be lost, and it could potentially bounce a lot higher, but the deepest level is $81,200 because that is still considered the last bullish bounce. When you tap the 0.88, you decrease the probability, you increase the probabilities of taking the low and for this to be a wave 2. So now you're counting this as a wave 1. This becomes a wave 2. Okay. Hopefully maximum target at the 786 should not tap the 0.88 and then off we go in a third 5 wave to the upside. And then we get that parabolic move to the upside. Okay, so this scenario at the moment still carries the highest probability, either with another high or without another high. What do I mean by that? So there is still a chance, okay, that this little structure needs another high before it starts correcting itself. Okay, so there's a chance that it does this and then the structure starts correcting itself. So there is still a chance, there's always still a chance for another little high to the upside, just to stop out those early shorts and then it tumbles back down to the downside. Or the high is in and it's now going to start correcting. And this is what we need to go and analyze on the smaller time frames, because there could be some clues in the smaller time frames. Is the top in, or are we going to make one more high and then the structure is going to start correcting itself because we have decreasing volume? It looks like the structure is losing momentum. Unless by some miracle, okay, price starts pumping and volume drastically starts increasing. That will be a sign that you have a triple 1-2 to the upside. And I'm telling you guys now, if volume starts increasing significantly, it starts ramping up, I will buy over here, because I want to show you an example. Okay, I want to show you guys an example. Right, let's go back to where was it? Here was another double 1-2. Okay, here's an example of another 1-2. And the odds was not in favor of this double 1-2, but look at the shallow retracements. Look at this 1-2. If I take a fib from the low to the high, okay, you did not tap the 0.382. Exactly what happened now. You didn't tap the 0.382. Very shallow retracement. It just left people behind. Again, when you take a fib from the low to the high, extremely shallow retracement. And this, ladies and gentlemen, ended up being a double 1-2. 1-2, 1-2. Okay, there wasn't a lot of volume, but then all of a sudden, look at that. Volume started increasing with that candle. And that gives you the clue. Okay, now the third wave is about to start. So even if you enter late, but you see the increase in volume, that is your clue that the structure is now going into a parabolic phase. 1-2, 1-2, and then we went into 3-4, 5-4, 5 to the upside. So even if you entered late with your stop below the consolidation area, you would have still benefited from the momentum here to the upside. Okay, so here's a perfect example. The reason a lot of technical analysts did not regard this as a valid 1-2 is because this 1-2 was bigger than this 1-2. Usually what you want to see is a 1-2, 1-2 smaller. It almost forms that contracting diagonal. And it can even do another 1-2 and then it breaks out. Okay, but this turned out to be a small 1-2, bigger 1-2, and then it went parabolic to the upside. Right, and this is also where we had a nice little altcoin season rally. Okay, so while Bitcoin was building its 3, 4, 5, 4, 5s here to the upside, this is where we had a nice little altcoin season to the upside. Okay, mini altcoin season, when Bitcoin basically consolidates, chopping upwards, chopping downwards. Okay, that's where you get the 50%, 100% pops on some of your favorite altcoins. So just wanted to point that out, that my clue will be volume. I need to see volume increasing, okay? But also here, volume was pretty flat. It did not decrease. At the moment, when I look at where we are from a structural perspective, okay, let's go back to where we are at the moment. Volume is decreasing. It's not staying stable. It's decreasing, okay? So if we get a nice little pump over here and volume starts increasing, I'm longing this bad boy. Stop goes below the low. I don't care where I enter over here, okay, because you could be going to 120, 125, $130,000 very easily with that parabolic move to the upside. Okay, so that is one swing trade that I'm keeping in mind, but I need this. I need volume to increase. For me, it's not about trying to catch the low over here, speculating that it's going to go up parabolically, because then you're gambling. I need to see the sign of strength to have a confirmed trade to the upside. Then I will enter the trade. I don't mind being late. I don't mind being late. Okay. Right, but until then, the probabilities are higher that the 5-wave structure is completed here to the upside. Okay, so let's paint this out. In a perfect world, what you want to see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure now to the downside. Sorry, 3-wave corrective structure to the downside. Okay, 5 waves up, 3 waves down, and then you continue. This scenario at the moment is still the highest probable scenario because of this. Okay, right, we have completed 5 waves to the upside. All impulses moves in 5 waves. So what I can tell everyone here, well, if this is the highest probable scenario, okay, this is a really good zone to start looking for swing shorts to the downside. Right, because you want to take advantage of this move. This becomes a swing trade opportunity over here. Okay, if it breaks out and volume still decreases, it could be that scenario where it makes one more high here to the upside, and it falls down again. SFP from the high falls down, stop goes below the high, okay, and you can trade it all the way down here, potentially even to the golden pocket until it finds support here above the consolidation area. This could be an epic swing trade that's most probably going to take a month to play out. Right, and this is the swing trading opportunity that I am now speculating on. Should I enter now? Should I build a position to the upside? Where should I put my stop loss? Okay, so these are the things that I'm currently pondering about. But the answers the answers lies inside of the smaller structure over here. So let me clean up the chart. I want to show everyone a little bit something interesting that I've noticed. Sell volume is increasing. Well, buying pressure is still higher than the sell volume, but yes, you know, if you want to compare this sell pressure to this sell pressure, then you could say, but you still have buying pressure that's higher than your selling pressure at the moment. Okay. So there's a chance, like I said, guys, there is a chance that the high is in 0.88 tap, swing failure from the 0.88, and you get momentum to the downside. I mean, how many times has it happened? Look at during this consolidation area over here, okay? The 0.88 inside of a consolidation area, okay, is extremely powerful. It's a golden pocket, okay? From the high to the low, 0.88. From this high to the low, rejection took place at the 0.88. Okay, you guys can see that the 0.88 inside of a corrective structure is a very powerful level. But because of all the 0.88 taps over here, 0.88, 0.88, okay, 0.88, right? The probabilities to claim the highs are still higher before you claim the low of the structure, which was over here. Okay, and then we went into a parabolic move. So the fact that we have tapped, okay, this is now the good news. The fact that we have tapped the 0.88, taking a fib from this high to the low, increases the probabilities of taking the high before we take the low. Right, so bull market is still potentially going to continue with or without a correction. So either this structure is going to correct itself and continue. Worst case scenario, most bearish case scenario, this is an A, B, C, and then we continue. That's the worst case scenario, the most bearish case scenario that I have on the cards at the moment that still has a slight higher probability. Okay, you fall down, you claim the low again in an ABC flat, and then you continue. But because of this 0.88, there's a higher chance of going to all-time highs again in the zone by $125,000 before we claim the low. All of this is still very corrective. Okay, cool, legends. I think I've spent enough time here on the larger time frame. Okay, let's take the fib out the way. Let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. Let's see what is cooking over here. Okay, rejection. Okay, so we all know we got rejected here by the 0.88. Okay, and now the question is, remember yesterday when I did the live stream, I said, guys, I have a problem that this third wave is the shortest. It's shorter than the first wave and it's shorter than the fifth wave, which tells me this could potentially be a corrective structure here to the downside. And there's a chance that we're going to go claim the high again and then maybe fall down. And that's what I'm saying. There's still the potential for one more high inside of this structure that we're forming here to the upside. This is looks very familiar. I've seen this movie before where you chop, you fall down, okay, you chop a little bit more, you claim the high, and then you fall down. I've seen this movie play out. Have you guys seen this movie? Let me go here onto 1 hour time frame. Let me show you the movie that I'm talking about. Okay, let's reverse price a little bit over here. Okay, this is now obviously a little bit larger time frame, but the pattern is exactly the same. Okay, it reminds me of this structure over here. You have the chop. Okay, everyone thinks this is the high. You fall down, and then you claim the high once more, and then you go down. Right, very similar to what I'm seeing here on the 15-minute time frame. That's what I'm saying. There's still a possibility that you have the chop. This looks scary. It looks like it's corrective. It wants to fall down, and then you chop here and you claim the high once more, and then you fall down. So we just have to keep our level-minded. What I can tell everyone, the way that I plan to trade this is a swing failure from the high. Okay. If price decides to turn around over here and it breaks out and it falls back down below this high and it starts trading below my area of interest, this is where I'm going to trigger my swing trade to the downside. Okay, I might not get it, but I'm hoping that I'm going to get this, right? But now the question is this little structure. So, legends, on Binance, BTC perpetual Binance contract chart that I'm analyzing over here. I use this chart because it has an incredibly high amount of volume traded on it. The more volume is traded inside of the chart, the more accurate the technical analysis becomes. So on the Binance chart, okay, I have to point out that this third wave, if you want to count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is a corrective structure, and now we're going to continue to the downside. Yes, it has a high probability, but my problem yesterday was the third wave is the shortest, which is not allowed. But when I went onto the Bybit chart and I analyzed that little structure to the downside, the third wave is not the shortest. So we have a little bit of a discrepancy between which chart you use to do your analysis on. So on the Bybit chart, okay, this third wave is not the shortest. Okay, an easy way to measure it, I like to use my trend-based fib and I measure the third wave from the top to the tippy top bottom over there. And then I go put it on the first wave and I can see, okay, ever so slightly, okay, right, maybe I just didn't tap my fib levels properly, okay, I need to do this properly. Let's do this again. From the top, okay, to the bottom, let's make sure that we get this right. Put it on the first wave, okay, damn, and then you can see, I need to zoom in for this, that your first wave is shorter, guys, but it's by a hair. It is so close. Look at that, right? It is literally $5-6 on the grander, bigger scheme of things. This is now being very, very, very pedantic over here. Okay, so the first wave is the shortest, or is shorter than the third wave. Then I go and put it on the fifth wave over here to the downside. Okay, it's longer, but at least now I have some sort of confirmation that this could be an impulse to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason I'm making such a fuss about this wave, because in Elliott wave theory, your third wave is not allowed to be the shortest. It's an invalidation. It's not even, it decreases the probability. It's an invalidation. Your third wave is not allowed to be the shortest. Okay, it can be the second shortest, but it's not allowed to be the shortest wave. So on the Bybit chart, it's ever so slightly $5-6 longer than the first wave. Okay, so which basically now brings me back to the probabilities. Okay, so what you then would like to see is, well, if this is a 5-wave structure to the downside, I think I already have it, yeah, there we go. If this is a 5-wave structure to the downside, it means it's either impulses that's starting to form momentum to the downside, or it's an A wave. So this could be an A. This is a 1, 2, 3 wave structure in a B, and now we're going to go down for a C wave. So this is the one scenario that I'm keeping an eye on. For this scenario, you ideally don't want to go any higher. You want to start falling down. Okay, and you now need to start building impulses to the downside. It needs to start falling aggressively with volume. So there's some volume, there's the first clue, there's some volume kicking in here at the moment, but it's still not falling aggressively, because if this is 1, 2, now you want a 3, 4, 5 to the downside, it needs to start falling now. It needs to fall, and it's not falling. You have volume. Okay, so either it's going to start falling now, but if it starts going back up here again and it just consolidates here, it starts decreasing the probabilities for this scenario. Okay, so just to keep it simple, this is one scenario that I'm looking at, is to say that, well, if this is the top, this could now be an A wave in a 5-wave structure. This is a B, C wave in a B wave, a 3-wave structure, A, B, C in a B wave, and now we need to start building impulses to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You basically claim the low of A. Then, ladies and gentlemen, if this is an A, B, C, you still expect a bounce and claim the high again, because this is a corrective structure. Unless it makes a 4 and a 5 again, you have basically, then you're starting to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if I see another wave, if the C wave stops over here, it goes up and it falls back down again. Okay, then it means that this corrective structure is most probably going down, and it's correcting the entire structures that we formed since $74,000. So there's a lot that needs to play out, and the structure will show me the way along the way. Okay, so One possibility is to say that, well, you know, you're going to build a swing trade here to the downside, and maybe you're looking at something like this. Okay, stop goes above the high, right? You build your position in the zone, and you are targeting basically, okay, I would say a good area is basically this consolidation area over here, okay, or this consolidation, but the risk to reward needs to make sense. Okay, I will not enter a trade with a risk to reward less than 2. I will not. And now the risk of this trade specifically is that this swing trade that I'm referring to over here, I actually only want to take when I know the entire structure is starting to correct itself. But because this is a 1 wave here to the downside, okay, we have a 3 wave up, you could just form an ABC, claim the low, okay, and then get momentum back to the upside. So I'm not convinced just as yet for a swing trade here to the downside. If I miss it, I miss it. The most obvious swing trade for me is claiming that high and getting acceptance back below. And that basically means, okay, let's say it does fall out, okay, comes back up, starts trading back below. This is where I want to activate my swing trade to the downside. It's the best way for me to get in. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. Okay. Right. Cool. And right, legends, I also just have to point out here on the 15-minute time frame, so let me take the scenario out the way, that this little choppiness here to the downside is a bit concerning for me, because what is this? This looks corrective. Without trying to count it from an Elliott wave perspective, when something chops like this to the downside or to the upside, it's usually corrective. It's not impulsive. So it's very choppy price action here to the downside. So if this is now forming your first wave inside of your C wave to the downside, you want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC, and it needs to continue. I want to see that, and now I'm seeing this. Okay. So now I want to talk about the bullish case scenario, which brings me to the bullish case scenario. So looking at this structure, okay, the 112 almost invalidated itself. Okay, there is a bullish case scenario which looks like this. Okay, leading diagonal, contracting, way more preferred than anything that's expanding. You formed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a wave 1, 3 wave structure in 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 3, 3 wave structure in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5, and now you are forming the corrective structure for this impulse. You want to form a higher low in an ABC and continue momentum to the upside. This is the bullish case scenario. Simple, right? You take a fib from the bottom to the top of the structure, and you can see that we have now just tapped the 50% Fibonacci. Okay. So there's a chance that the correction is done. So if you are a bull, you need to pay attention to these important fib levels: 50%, golden pocket, 786. Okay, it is most common for contracting diagonals. I have seen from my backtesting, in a contracting diagonal, the most common bouncing areas is the 382 and the 50%. It sometimes goes to the golden pocket and the 786, but you usually don't get deep retracements, okay, when you have a contracting diagonal. It usually makes a shallow retracement and it continues to the upside. So there you go. I have to always look at the bullish and the bearish case scenario. I have to look at both sides of the coin. Okay. Right, I just want to go and see, well, what does CVD tell us? Is CVD telling us a story over here? Do we spot some local bullish or bearish CVD? Okay, so if the correction is done, I need to look at CVD from the pivots below. So let's look at CVD from this little pivot. No bullish. Okay, there's bullish CVD on yellow. And from this pivot, there is bullish CVD on white and nothing on blue. There's bullish CVD, okay, but I cannot use that because the target was the high. It already took the high. Okay, so I can't look at the CVD. Can't. Right, but there's ever so slightly between this pivot, which is the most important pivot, ever so slightly between this pivot, there is ever so slightly bullish CVD on yellow. So I have one confirmation. And on white, bullish CVD against those pivots. But I mean, it's so close. Okay, so there is a sign of strength. That's what I'm trying to point out. There's a sign of strength. Here on the 5-minute time frame, looking at the structure, there is bullish CVD. The target is the high. Right, so there's a chance for this bullish structure to play out. I just want to see something else. If I measure this corrective structure from a FIB perspective, yeah, a little bit of a shallow retracement, okay? I ideally would have liked to see the 786 tap over here. It's a very shallow retracement, okay? So if we can maybe lose the 50% again, ideally you want the 1-to-1 extension together with the golden pocket to be tapped. So if price can move down here, form more bullish CVD or more aggressive bullish CVD, now that becomes very interesting. 1-to-1 extension, golden pocket. Okay, that becomes really interesting, or at least claim the 786. The 0.618 is a very shallow, it's a very shallow retracement. If I look at this retracement, it's very shallow. It looks like it needs more momentum to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to be patient with this one over here. Right, cool legends. That is basically what I'm looking at the moment from a bullish and a bearish case perspective. I just want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. So that is my, where can we like to be? My folder, switch this off. Just want to look at the local bearish. Okay, so this is the one that we basically went through. Is that in the bearish case scenario, this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have a little bit of a problem, okay? 3 needs to start dumping. Okay, if price starts aggressively dumping here to the downside, because remember your third waves has the most amount of volume, they are the most aggressive, you will know that you are in a third wave. As long as price is just chopping, you significantly increase the probabilities that this is corrective and this is a bullish structure and it's going to bounce back up, make a higher low. If price now all of a sudden decides to drop aggressively, I'm going to be like, okay, it's a C. I'm going to start looking for longs over here because that's going to be an epic long. ABC, continuation to the upside, you go claim the high again. This could also be a nice little swing trade to the upside. Okay. Interesting fact. If you want to know where the C wave targets are, and if you are looking for longs a little bit further down, you take your trend-based FIB from the top of A to the bottom of A to the top of B. Okay, now you have some interesting targets. Let me take this out to the downside. Okay, most common C wave targets. So guys, let's just talk about the bearish case scenario again. If we do claim this low, okay, look at this. 1-to-1 extension, 1.236, most common C wave targets. Extended C wave to the downside is the 1.618, but this is the most common levels. Extended is sometimes it's a hit and run and very shallow. Okay, because then you also have a running flat where the B doesn't claim the high, the C doesn't claim the low, and you basically form a small little three-wave structure and you continue to the upside, but very, very, very rare. It doesn't play out often. Maybe 1 out of 10 times you see this happen. Okay. Cool. Remember, guys, now what I want to talk about is ETH. Okay, let's jump into ETH. I want to talk about ETH. Let's go through some comments. And also, before I go through the comments and before we talk about ETH, some interesting things that I want to point out here on ETH is, remember, down in the description, I am trading on a new exchange. Some people told me, Dewald, I don't like weeks, I don't like bluffing, or I only like weeks, I only like bluffing. I want to diversify my portfolio. Well, here you go. BTCC, up to $10,000 sign-up bonus. What I particularly like about BTCC is that you don't only have to trade crypto. You can trade gold. Here we go. You can trade silver using your stable coins, USDT. You can trade any commodity. What else is there? Meta, Facebook. There's Meta, Facebook as well. So there's some stocks to trade here as well. So if you're not really heavily into crypto and you also like to trade a little bit of stocks, well, here's a platform for you, okay? Get the biggest sign-up bonuses by using the link down in the description. And right, legends, I have deposited some money in here, and I'm going to grow this portfolio. I'm still deciding. I will let everyone know, and I will show you guys the open trades that I do have here on this portfolio. And I'm still, you know, I thought I'm going to leave this portfolio for swing trade, so I'm looking for that epic swing trade for Bitcoin. If we claim the high, start trading below, this is where I'm going to do it, and maybe some swing trades on altcoins as well. Okay, so if you would like to trade ETH, Bitcoin, buy some spot bags. They have over 300 altcoins. This exchange has been in operation for 14 years, so they've been tried and tested. And right, legends, so if you are looking for an alternative exchange or a better exchange, okay, look no further. You've got BTC down in the description. First link down in the description. Right, also your way to support the channel so that I can keep on coming here, bringing you guys the alpha. Right, and then for those that still want to trade on weeks, 20% deposit or cash back on the money that you deposit in your futures account, and you get 25% discount on your trading fees. You also get the chance to spin that wheel. The more you trade, the more times you can spin the wheel for guaranteed prizes. And then bluffing. I do see that a lot of people with larger accounts enjoy trading on bluffing. Also, the more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. So here are the 3 exchanges that I am currently trading on at the moment. I've got my weeks account open here. I've got my bluffing account on the other screen, and I've got my BTCC account here on this screen over here. Okay, and you guys, I mean, you can go up to 500x. Okay, 500x. I've never opened up a 500x position in my life. Should I open up, guys? Should we have a little bit of fun? Should I open up a 500x position right now? Let's see if there's a trading opportunity. Let's keep this. Ooh, let's keep this fun, right? Let's keep this fun. Should I open up a 500x position? Let's see. Is there any obvious trades over here? Okay, I'm not the type of person that like to force a trade. Okay. I'm not that type of person, but maybe there's a trading opportunity. So I'm going to set my alarm. Okay, there's always another way to get into a trade. Dewald, I don't know if this is bullish. I don't know if this is corrective. I don't want to play the SFPs to the downside. Wait for the trend, my friend. Wait for the trend. Make sure you have your alarm. Okay, I'm going to create my alarm over there. Okay, maybe we can even keep it more fun. Let me go into the 10-second time frame. Is there maybe something we can trade over here? Okay. I want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This looks like a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, let's see. There's a mini trend over there. Okay, so I'll also put an alarm over there. Okay, guys, this is me now scalping galore over here, right? I want to take a fib from the low to the high, see where we get the bounce. Didn't tap the 0.382. I would like to see a little bit of a deeper correction. Let's see if this is going to play out. Anyways, legends, you know, I'm just that type of person. I can't just blindly enter something. I need to have at least a setup, even if I'm scalping the 10-second or 5-second time frame over here. Okay. And maybe if my alarm goes off, right? If my alarm goes off, the best area that I see, let's see. Okay, I need to do some quick and dirty technical analysis. Yes, I'm gonna put an alarm over here as well. Okay, I can play an SFP from that level. Ah, there it breaks out, is breaking out. Okay, so let's go, legends. 500x, confirm. Let's do 1%. Yes, that's absolutely crazy. Okay, 1%, open long, let's go, confirmation, let's go. There we go, first 500x position. Ooh, absolutely insane. Right now, I need to add my stop loss. Ooh, you can't go fast enough with this. Okay, let's put a stop loss. 10% is not going to be enough. Okay, we need at least what? We need at least a 50% stop loss, because I might get stopped out before I even get momentum to the upside. Okay, stop loss is in place. And let's take some profit. Let's take some. Want a 20% stop loss. Why is it not giving me the 20% or 50% stop loss? Let's do this. Confirm. Oh, because it's so tiny, I need to zoom in. It's so tiny, I need to zoom in. Right, legends. Right. Okay, this is me just, testing out the exchange on high leverage. Okay, extreme high leverage, high chance of me being stopped out in this trade, but I will not get liquidated. I'd rather get stopped out. Okay, profit taking area. Let's just put in the line. Okay, let's put that 100%. Confirm. Okay, so if this trade plays out, then what I'll make, if it plays out, right, I'll make $3,000, and we'll see. Let's just let this trade play out. Yes, I'm fun. Yes, I'm fun, guys. Yes, I'm fun. But this is how you can trade here on BTCC. Okay, 500x position. I've never traded with 500x in my life before, but let's see. It is breaking out here to the upside. Please do not reject by the trend, because, I'm trying to catch the breakout before we get the breakout over here. So let me go back here to the 30-second time frame. Let's see. Currently getting a little bit of momentum here to the upside. Can take this out the way. Okay, let's see if momentum is going to continue. Right, guys, I'm not sure if any one of you are second scalpers, 1 minute, 30-second, 5-second scalpers over here. It does require a lot of screen time. You have to be quick. Yeah, let's see. Adrenaline pumping. Yes, adrenaline is pumping over here. Okay, I need to go onto the, let's just do this. Okay, so currently, what is this? $21 in profit? What is that? $1 in profit? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. 103,177. 103,177. 3177. There we go. Maybe, you type in the numbers and that's way better. I'm going to target the highs here by 103,740. 103,740. 103,740. Let's see if this trade plays out, guys. I'm either going to get, I'm just having fun over here, guys. This was a trade, forced trade, thought out over here, scalping the damn 10-second time frame, break off trend. Let's see if we get a little bit of momentum to the upside. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But now I can officially say that I have traded for the first time in my life with a 500x position. Okay, cool. Legends, what I want to talk about right now, okay, is ETH. Let's talk about ETH. Okay. We can look at the price action in a moment. So ETH is nicely here in a parallel channel to the upside, and I will explain what I'm seeing over here in a second. The most important thing I want to focus on right now, as per the thumbnail, the forgotten child, the altcoin no one wants to look at. The altcoin most people actually sold out of their portfolios. The altcoin where if I talk about it, okay, I get hate here on the live stream. So this is potentially an altcoin that is getting a little bit of new life in its sails. The wind is starting to blow in the sails. Let's look at ETH BTC. So on the ETH BTC Bitstamp chart, okay, this is basically the strength of Ethereum over the price of Bitcoin. Okay, we have broken, so I'm just taking a trend here from round about June 2024. We have broken this mini trend here to the downside. Okay, the mini trend we broke out. ETH broke out, showing strength over the price of Bitcoin. But now it's nibbling here at a bigger trend. And it's starting to close some candles at this trend, above the trend, okay, which is a sign of strength. So maybe, just maybe, you know, this is going to be the time for ETH to shine a little bit here more to the upside. Another thing I want to show everyone over here is if I go to the parabolic curve, let me go onto the weekly time frame. Let's put it on logarithmic, okay. ETH has also hit the last area of support that was formed during 2019. So this basically shows you that ETH has basically tanked compared to the price of Bitcoin. Okay, and this is why we haven't really seen a true altcoin season yet, because we know when ETH starts gaining strength over Bitcoin, that's when you see parabolic moves, face melting price action from your favorite altcoins, especially when they are inside of the ETH ecosystem. Okay, so what I want to point out over here is this parabolic curve has now been broken also to the upside. Okay, it's broken the parabolic curve. You've had multiple five months red candles or purple candles on my side to the downside. It literally tapped my box to the dollar and got the bounce. And now if we can close a solid daily or weekly candle above my resistance box over here, okay, I think it's going to be all systems go for ETH. And this is why I put in the thumbnail, most probably the most hated rally will take place on ETH over here. Everyone that took it out of their portfolios, they don't believe in this ETH anymore, they're going to look back and say, shit, I shouldn't have taken it out. Maybe I should have just continued buying the dips. Okay, this could be the moment where ETH is going to really outperform the price of Bitcoin. Okay, now from a price action perspective, let's look at ETH. First thing I want to do is let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, I just want to take the parallel channel out because that can get confusing. It was a nice little breakout that we spoke about on the Fed press interest rate. Okay, everyone remembers this? If you were in my live stream during the Fed press conference, the interest rates that came out, that was the retest that I highlighted during the live stream. And look at this. Right, so if you had the guts to enter this trade, I told everyone your stop goes below the low. This is where you enter, okay? And right, absolute bonkers here to the upside. Anyways, legends, looking at the structure, it is a clear double 1-2 structure to the upside. It's as clear as daylight because this was the clue. Okay, so if you think that you've missed it on ETH and you would still like to get in on the action, it's not the time to buy right now. Because when you form a double 1-2, okay, 1-2, 1-2, and now you have 3 here to the upside, okay, that almost that straight candle to the upside, because you chopped here, okay, you chopped in a triangle, whatever you want to call it, now you're chopping to the upside. So you have choppiness, you have the guard candle, and now you expect choppiness, and then it needs to roll over, because this double 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to the upside needs to come to an end, and it needs to correct itself in a larger 3-wave structure. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where you buy. You need to wait for a larger pullback. Okay, we need to wait for the larger pullback. This is where I'm planning to open up a swing trade on Ethereum. Hopefully the pullback gives us a nice little trend and you can play the breakout, because we don't know how large the pullback is going to be. But this is a bullish structure. This is a double 1-2 or 5-wave structure to the upside. basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you fall down. You look for that higher low for continuation back to the upside. Okay, that is, guys, that is if you want to snipe the entry. Okay, remember, this is not financial advice. By no stretch of the imagination. Please do your own research. If you don't want to buy this, don't buy this. And don't buy this if I'm telling you to buy it, or I'm telling you what I am doing. So I already have a spot bag. And I have bought over here. I did buy over here, but I also bought over here. And I also bought over here. I bought all of this. I just continued to buy the dips. And then when we had now the breakout, now I sit on my hands. I don't buy anymore. Unless I see a larger pullback, then I will add to the position. That's from a spot bag perspective. From a swing trade perspective, for me, it's not time yet. Okay. The one thing I want to highlight, if you go to the daily time frame and you zoom out, okay, let's just zoom out over here, okay? There's a high chance that the corrective structure is done. And I have gone through a lot of detail with the ETH corrective structure. This was the biggest clue. 1, 2, 3. If you have a 3-wave corrective structure to the downside and there's no 4 and 5, you increase the probability that all of this is corrective, which means it's still going up. Okay. The best way that I can count this corrective structure is a WXY. You have an ABC in W, you have a WXY in X, and you have another ABC in Y. Done. Is there a chance for still another low? Of course, there's always a chance for another low, but I don't care what happens over here. It's corrective because of this. Right, so zooming out on the daily time frame, let me just make sure that I've got it here on the regular. Okay, if let's say the target for ETH, okay, I think $6,000, $7,000 is a realistic target. Let's say this is your target to start taking profits on ETH. It doesn't really matter where you bought over here. Doesn't really matter where you bought over here. If your longer term, bigger picture, this is how I'm thinking. So from an investment perspective, I don't care if I'm buying over here. I don't care if I'm buying a little bit over there. You get a pullback, I buy a little. So I'm averaging into my position over here, expecting my target to get hit. Okay, but it's not going to be smart of me if it keeps on pumping and I keep on adding at higher levels. Okay, I want to build my position here and I want to take profits over here. So in the bigger scheme of things, because I see there's a lot of people asking, is it too late to buy ETH? Yes, it's already had a little bit of a parabolic move here to the upside. It is starting to hit new resistance. Okay, you can see beautiful resistance over there. I would personally wait for a little bit of a pullback because I can see the 1, 2, 1, 2. You're going to get 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It's going to start rolling over. And that is potentially the best load up zone so that you can have better risk management. Okay. And this is where I'm planning to build a swing trade for continuation to the upside. From a spot bag perspective, it doesn't really matter where you buy over here, as long as you buy before we take this resistance. Because once you take $2,852, you're starting to change local market structure. And I am not interested to add anything to my spot bags above this level. So anything below this level for me is still an interesting buy zone from a spot perspective. From a swing perspective, it's not time yet. And of course, this is not financial advice. Right, legends. So that's basically what I see here on the price of ETH. I think a lot of people lost hope in ETH when XRP and Solana outperformed it over the last year or so. Definitely. But you can also see that ETH was busy with a larger corrective structure. This is why it did not perform. Okay, but now that it's finished, now that it's potentially finished in a larger WXY, 3-wave corrective structures, 3-wave to the downside, there's now the chance for ETH to say, you think XRP was bullish, you think Pepe was bullish, you think WIF was bullish. Well, wait, I'm going to show you, hold on to my beer, I'm going to show you a trick. Maybe ETH is building up for that nice little explosion here to the upside, right? Because it was busy with a corrective structure. the same way in which people lost faith in XRP. You guys remember when people lost faith in XRP? Okay, also let's go to the weekly time frame. Let me put it here on the log scale, right? People lose faith in something when it's busy with a larger corrective structure. I lost faith. I'm not going to sit here and say I held on. No, I didn't. I lost faith. Okay, I bought XRP. When was this? 2000. I didn't buy here. I bought 2020. This is where I bought XRP. And I had nice momentum to the upside. And then it was like, what? Did I just buy into an altcoin that did not claim the high? What just happened? And then I held on and I held on and I held on. I bought a little bit more. We got these spikes and stuff. And at some point during 2023, I sold all of my XRP. I was like, okay, it's dead. The court case, it was just fundamentally, and from a correction perspective, that is when you lose faith. The Rune, Solana, like you've mentioned here, Mr. Pac-Man, okay, is just done phenomenal things. So I still believe that I made the best decision because I used this money that I sold here in XRP to buy Rune, Solana. There was 3, and Render. I bought Rune, Solana, and Render with the XRP money, and I don't regret it because I made a lot of profits with those 3 altcoins. And then, okay, because you're in a corrective structure, this is why it got boring. You had a 3 wave, okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it's busy with its 5th wave. And 4th waves on the macro time frame take a fucking long time. It took a long time from 2017 up until, okay, 2024 is when it took to finish its corrective structure. And now everyone is talking about XRP. It's all over everyone's thumbnails. Can we look at XRP? Can we look at XRP? Because now after the corrective structure, it's find its strength here to the upside. And it's the same thing with Ethereum. It was in a larger corrective structure. And this is why I'm also so interested in Litecoin. Dinosaur coin. Who wants Litecoin in their damn portfolio? Well, Dewald does have Dewald wants Litecoin in his portfolio, and I actually bought quite a significant position in Litecoin, right? Exactly the same as XRP. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, E, and now I'm expecting an explosion here to the upside. XRP is already here. Okay, right. So I bought here. Like literally, I filled up my Litecoin bags over here. Okay, and this is why Litecoin, let me just move this up so everyone can see. This is why Litecoin and ETH is inside of my list of the altcoins that I'm currently accumulating, because I'm acknowledging the larger macro corrective structures. ETH as well, okay? Maybe, right? All of the altcoin pumps that we've seen to date, especially the meme coins that's been ruling the space at the moment, okay? Maybe it's now time for the real fundamental tokens like Ethereum, Litecoin, like XRP, and, like Doge, which is the only significant meme coin that I do have in my portfolio, right? Maybe it's now their time to shine. All the other altcoins already had their turn. They had their turn, okay? Maybe it's now ETH's turn. Right, legends, and remember, all of these coins can be traded with BTCC, weeks. The links are down in the description, where you get the best sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees, and it costs you nothing extra. Okay. And it's here on BTCC where, my trade. Guys, I think I might have entered with a much smaller position than I wanted to. Okay, I need to change that BTC setting to USDT next time. I need to change this to USDT. Right, so currently still winning in this trade. But it's only $6. That's disappointing. I thought, at 500x with 1% of my capital, it would be a significantly larger position. Anyways, so you learn, okay? So you learn. Maybe it did give me a message saying that, not your entire order didn't get filled. Right. Anyways, legends, I will most likely do another live stream a little bit later, but thank you so much for attending the live stream. Smash up that like button on your way out if you're not already subscribed to the channel. This is where we do pure technical analysis and loads of education. I will see you all in the next one. Cheers for now.